but a taste of our fury. Do you yield?
I do not.
For many kids, Mario was their first portal to video games. At least those who grew up in the late 80s and early 90s. I would say the same, and honestly it's pretty damn close, but the first game I remember playing was Duck Hunt. Super Mario was next though, thanks to it being bundled together with the NES action set, which was the set that came with the laser gun, and Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt were on the same cartridge. Now, it was so long ago, it's hard to remember, but I couldn't have been any older than 4, maybe 5 years old at the time. I didn't actually have the system, I played it at my cousin's house. And I remember with Duck Hunt, it kept my attention for a little bit, but it was Super Mario that sparked the lifelong love for video games that I have to this day. I stomped a lot of Goombas, collected, a dozen mushrooms, while at the same time failing a lot, but eventually completing the levels. And even though I haven't played all the Mario games, it's not difficult to understand the basic premise. You play as a plumber who sets out to rescue a princess from a fire-breathing Blastoise.
Why are you talking like that?
Some entries in the franchise have differing stories and gameplay mechanics, but at their core, they're all centered around one key element: fun. That's right, above all else, creator Shigeru Miyamoto and the development team at Nintendo, they set out to make enjoyable games. Now, not long after I first picked up a Nintendo controller, with the meteoric rise in popularity of Mario, it was unsurprising a movie adaptation was quickly developed. I didn't watch 1993's Super Mario Bros. Until it came out on VHS, and I'm pretty sure my family rented it at Blockbuster. And as a kid, I thought it was kind of cool to see a live-action version of Mario and Luigi. But as I grew older and after a few rewatches, I realized my early excitement was cloaked by a childhood lens. Because, yeah.
I want you to meet my father.
Well, it's an honor to meet you, sir, and a pleasure. And I just want to thank you for all your help.
Come on, Luigi. We're talking to the Milton in the shower next.
While many people shit on it, I would honestly place it under the category of so bad it's good.
Goomba! Walk tall, be proud. Go Goomba! Join the Goombas!
Barely, but that's how I feel about it. Now, 30 years after the world was blessed with that film, the new Super Mario Bros. Movie has been released. I took my son, who's 3, almost 4 in a few weeks, to see this, and it was his first time in a movie theater, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect from that. I was just hoping that he wouldn't be too loud there, make too much of a fuss. He sat there, he was quiet, he watched it, and from start to finish, we were both smiling and enjoyed the movie a lot. Obviously, there's a huge divide between the critics and the audience, and no matter what anyone else thinks of this movie, I'm giving you my personal take on it. And while I think the critics seem a little bit too harsh, after really thinking about it, they're not entirely wrong in their reasoning behind, their less than stellar reviews. Now, before any diehard Mario fan hits that dislike button, I just told you moments ago that I really dug the movie. But it's not without its faults. Right up front, story-wise, it's a lot like Avatar. Yes, Avatar. Both films have lackluster plots. 2009's Avatar was a shallow ripoff of Ferngully and Pocahontas. Basically, just blended together with blue people. Blue aliens. And, whereas this Super Mario Bros. Movie, it's mostly a non-existent skeleton of a story. But just like Avatar, although different, it's visually nice to look at. It's really crisp, the colors are vibrant. Sure, there's no immensely profound storyline, but again, like Avatar, it's more about the experience and less about the story. As far as the voice acting goes, a lot of people were upset about Chris Pratt playing the role of Mario, and, you know, I guess I can't really blame them per se, because that's not who I would picture as the voice of Mario, but I don't despise that casting choice either. But after watching it, I can confidently say that Chris Pratt sounded like Mario Chris Pratt. He definitely wasn't bad. At least, you know, I don't think he was as bad as everyone thought he was going to be. But I wish he flexed his voiceover skills like he did in the Lego movie.
Ah, here it is. Instructions to fit in, have everybody like you, and always be happy. Step 1, breathe.
I think the majority of the characters here could have been portrayed by pretty much anyone else, and I wouldn't have known any different. Many of the voices, you know, including Chris Pratt's, were just too generic. Seth Rogen, of course, his voice stood out, but I mean, his voice kind of matches Donkey Kong, but at the same time, it can be a little bit annoying.
Hey, that's what they came here for! Dancing packs!
The exception to this, Jack Black as Bowser, he stole the show, easily capturing everyone's attention in every scene he was in.
I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
I think he really put his all into this role, and he gave us a hit song too, Peaches, which, by the way, at first I totally thought he was saying bitches.
Peaches, peaches, peaches.
Hopefully I'm not the only one that thought that. But I gotta say, my biggest issue with the film though has to do with the pacing, because the rapid shift from one Easter egg and concept to another, you know, they unlocked a lot of childhood memories, and they were great, don't get me wrong, but they also felt unfulfilled. It felt like, you know, going to a buffet and seeing a bunch of food you want to put on your plate, then suddenly the food disappears, leaving behind a few items you can, you know, pick up and actually eat. Also, because of how quickly things moved, character development was underwhelming. I really think if they added 20 more minutes and fleshed out the characters more, it would have helped out a ton. And, you know, most jokes didn't quite land, but I liked the attempt and the charm along the way. There was so much throwback fanfare, they hit all the nostalgic feels. My favorite aspect of the entire movie was definitely the sound design and the score. All the sounds from classic Mario games and a certain Nintendo console were fantastic. I'll admit though, a few of the 80s songs being in the movie felt a bit shoehorned in. I get it, they wanted some music from that time to increase the nostalgia factor, but I will say I was never really taken out of the experience too much though. Lastly, the Mario Kart Rainbow Road scene was pretty dope. Not gonna lie. I even made a video about what that scene was like for me versus my son. It's super short, and if you want to check it out, the link is right here. Overall, between amazing visuals, numerous Easter eggs, the retro score, seeing these iconic characters on the big screen, Bowser's chart-topping song, everything adds up to a simple yet fun time at the theaters. And my son and I both had a blast, and I would highly recommend this to any Mario or Nintendo fan, or if you have kids, it's definitely worth a family outing too. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. Catch you later. Peace.